On
Six-digit
December
code your
26,
bank texts you to
2025,
confirm a
while most of
login or
America was
payment
celebrating Christmas
feels
with
like
their
the
families,
thing keeping your
the New
money
York
safe.
Federal Reserve
The
quietly
final lock on the
injected
door,
$17
even
billion
if someone steals
into
your
an unnamed
password.
bank.
But
press release,
there's a common
no
iPhone
explanation.
habit that quietly
Just
turns that
$17
lock
billion
against you.
of
It
emergency
has nothing
cash
to do with a
flowing into the
virus,
financial
a hack
system
of your
while you were
phone, or
opening
some
presents.
flaw in iOS itself.
3 days later,
The mistake
on
is
January
relying on
1st,
those text message
2026,
codes at all,
something happened
because
that had
the way
never
they are
occurred in
delivered
modern
over the
financial
phone
history.
network is the
In
single
Japan,
weakest link in your
physical
entire
silver
account
was selling
security.
for $130
And criminals have built
per
reliable
ounce.
methods to intercept
In the United
them.
Arab Emirates, the same
I want to be
story,
precise and honest with you
$130.
from the very
But
first
here's
second,
where it gets disturbing.
because this
At
topic
that
is surrounded
exact
by a
same
lot of
moment,
fear
if
and
you looked at your
misinformation,
trading screen
and
in
you
New
deserve
York
the
or
accurate
London,
version.
silver
Your
was
iPhone
showing
is not
$72
infected with
per
anything.
ounce.
There's
Let
no
me
secret
repeat that
hidden
because it
iOS
sounds
setting
impossible.
silently leaking your
The
codes
same
to
metal
anyone.
at the same time.
The problem is
trading
more
at an 80%
fundamental and,
premium
in a
in
way,
one part of the
more
world
important.
versus another. This
Because
isn't
it
a
affects
normal
everyone,
market discrepancy.
regardless of which phone they
This
own.
is a confession
It's
that
the
the entire
reliance on
system is breaking.
SMS, on text
And at the
messages,
center of this chaos
to receive the
sits
one-time
one
passcode
institution that
protect
everyone
your
knows,
bank,
but
your email,
nobody
your
truly
most important
understands.
accounts.
JP
The fix
Morgan
is
Chase,
genuinely simple,
America's
completely
largest bank,
free, and
they're
entirely in
sitting
your
on the
control.
largest stockpile
By
of
the end of this
physical silver
video,
in
you
human
will
history.
understand exactly how
On December
criminals
26,
steal these codes,
2025, while
why
most of
text
America
message
was
delivery is the
celebrating
vulnerable
Christmas with their
part,
families,
and the
the New York
specific
Federal
change you should
Reserve
make
quietly
today to take your
injected
most
$17
sensitive
billion
accounts out of the
into
line
an
of fire.
unnamed bank.
The mistake is
No press
genuinely
release,
common, but
no
correcting it
explanation.
takes only a few
Just
short minutes of your
$17
time,
billion
and
of
once you
emergency
do,
cash flowing
an
into the
entire
financial
category
system
of dangerous
while you were
attacks
opening
simply
presents.
stops working against you
3 days
completely.
later, on January
Let me start
1st,
by explaining
2026,
what these codes are and
something
why they
happened that
exist,
had never
because
occurred in
understanding their
modern
purpose
financial
shows you
history.
exactly where the
In
weakness
Japan,
lies. A one-time
physical silver
passcode,
was selling
often called
for
an OTP,
$130
is the
per
heart of
ounce.
two-factor
In the United
authentication,
Arab Emirates,
sometimes
the same
called
story,
two-step verification or
$130.
multi-factor
But here's where it
authentication.
gets disturbing.
The idea
At that
is
exact
genuinely
same
excellent.
moment,
Even if a
looked at
criminal
your trading
steals your
screen in
password,
New York or
they
London,
still cannot get into your
silver was
account
showing
without a second factor,
$72 per
a
ounce.
temporary
Let
code
me
that
repeat
only
that because
you
it
should be
sounds
able to
impossible.
receive.
The same
This
metal
second
at the
protective
same
layer
time,
is
trading at an
honestly one of the
80%
single most
premium in one
effective
part of the
security
world
measures
versus
ever
another.
created
This
for
isn't a
ordinary
normal
people.
market discrepancy.
You should absolutely
This
be
is a
using
confession
some
that the
form of
entire system is
two-factor
breaking.
authentication on
And at the
every
center of
important
this
account you
chaos
own.
sits
So
one
I want to be
institution
clear,
that everyone
the
knows,
problem is not
but nobody
two-factor
truly
authentication
understands.
itself, which is
JP Morgan
essential.
Chase,
The problem is
America's largest
specifically the
bank,
method of
and they're
delivery
sitting on the
when that code
largest
is sent to
stockpile
you
of
as
physical
a text
silver in
message.
human history.
Here's
On
the
December
crucial
26,
insight.
2025,
When your bank
while most
sends
of
that
America
code
was
by
celebrating
SMS,
Christmas with their
it travels
families,
across the
the
phone
New York
network,
Federal Reserve
the same
quietly
network that
injected
routes all your
$17
calls
billion
and texts.
into an unnamed
And that
bank.
network, along
No
with
press
the link
release,
between your
no
phone number and your
explanation.
actual device,
Just $17
has
billion
weaknesses
of
that
emergency
criminals have
cash
learned to
flowing into the
exploit.
financial system
The entire
while you were
security
opening
model of a
presents.
text message code rests
3
on
days
one
later,
assumption,
on
that only
January
your
1st,
phone
2026,
in your hand will
something
receive that
happened that
text.
had never
The attacks
occurred in
I'm about to
modern
describe
financial
all
history.
work by breaking that
In
single
Japan,
assumption, by
physical
arranging for
silver
your
was
codes
selling
to
for
arrive somewhere other than your
$130 per
phone
ounce.
or to be read in
In the
transit.
United Arab Emirates,
Once
the same
that single
story,
assumption breaks,
$130.
the second factor that
But
was
here's
supposed
where
to
it gets
protect you
disturbing.
is handed straight
At
to
that
the attacker
exact same
instead.
moment,
And with
if
your
you looked at
password
your
having
trading
already been
screen in
stolen,
New York or
your
London,
account is left wide
silver
open
was
to
showing
them.
$72
So how do criminals
per ounce.
actually intercept
Let me
these
repeat
text
that
message
because it
codes?
sounds impossible.
There are several
The
established
same metal
methods,
at the
and
same
understanding
time,
them shows
trading
you
at an
why the
80%
delivery method,
premium in one
not your
part of the
iPhone,
world
is the
versus
real
another.
problem.
This isn't a
The
normal
first
market
and most common
discrepancy.
is called a SIM
This is a
swap.
confession that the
In this
entire
attack,
system is
the
breaking.
criminal does not touch your
And
phone
at the center
all.
of this chaos
Instead,
sits
they contact
one
your mobile
institution that
carrier,
everyone
pretending
knows,
to be you,
but nobody
whose
truly
personal
understands.
information they have gathered
JP
about
Morgan
you,
Chase,
often bought cheaply
America's
from data
largest
brokers,
bank,
or scraped
and
from
they're sitting
breaches
on the
to
largest
convince a
stockpile
support
of
agent that
physical
they are
silver in
you
human
and that they
history.
need your number
On December
moved to a new
26,
SIM card.
2025,
They might
while most
claim,
of
for
America was
example,
celebrating
that they
Christmas
lost
with
their old
families,
phone,
the
or
New
that
York
they
Federal
just got a
Reserve
brand new
quietly
one and need
injected
the number
$17
moved
billion
over.
into
If the
an
carrier is
unnamed bank.
fooled, your phone
No
number
press
is
release,
transferred to a SIM
no
card to
explanation.
criminal control.
Just $17 billion
From that
of
moment, every
emergency
call
cash
and
flowing
every
into the
text meant for
financial
you,
system
including
while you
every
were
bank
opening
verification
presents.
code, goes
3
to them
days
instead.
later, on
Your own
January
phone
1st,
often goes completely
2026,
silent, suddenly
something
losing all
happened that
service,
had never
which is
occurred in
frequently the
modern
very first
financial
sign a
history.
victim actually notices,
In Japan,
and by then it
physical
is
silver
usually
was
far
selling
too
for
late.
$130
The second method
per
is an attack
ounce.
on the phone
In the
network's
United
underlying
Arab Emirates,
signaling
the same
system,
story,
known as
$130.
SS7. This
But
is the
here's where it gets
decades-old
disturbing.
protocol carriers
At
use
that
to route
exact
calls
same
and
moment,
texts between
if you looked
networks,
at your trading
and
screen in New
it has
York or
long-known
London,
vulnerabilities.
silver was
Attackers
showing
with access to the
$72 per
SS7
ounce.
network can
Let me repeat
intercept
that
text
because it sounds
messages,
impossible.
including one-time
The
codes
same
at the
metal
network
at the
level,
same time,
without
trading
ever
at an
needing your
80%
physical device or
premium in one
even a
part
SIM
of the world
swap.
versus another.
The third
This
method
isn't a
is
normal
simpler
market
and relies on
discrepancy.
you through
This is a
phishing,
confession that the
where a
entire
fake site
system is
or message
breaking.
tricks you into
And at
typing
the
the
center
code
of this
yourself.
chaos sits
In
one
every single one of
institution
these
that everyone
cases,
knows,
notice the one
but
common
nobody
thread
truly
running through
understands.
them.
JP
Code
Morgan
was
Chase,
sent over the network
America's
as a text,
largest bank,
and that is where it was
and they're
captured.
sitting on the largest
Your
stockpile
iPhone
of
did
physical
nothing
silver
wrong.
in human history.
Now here
on
is
December
the single
26,
most empowering fact in
while
this
most of
entire
America
topic.
was celebrating
The
Christmas
one that
with
turns
their
a
families,
frightening
the
problem
New York
into a
Federal
simple
Reserve
fix.
quietly injected
Because all of
$17
these
billion
attacks target
into an
codes
unnamed
delivered
bank.
over the phone
No
network.
press release,
The solution
no
is to
explanation.
stop receiving
Just
your
$17
important
billion
codes
of
over the phone
emergency
network.
cash flowing into
And
the
there is a
financial
better,
system
more
while you
secure
were
method
opening
available
presents.
to you right now on your
3
iPhone
days later,
for
on
free.
January 1st, 2026,
It's called an authenticator app.
something happened
Instead
that
of your
had never
bank
occurred
texting
in
you a
modern
code over
financial
with a vulnerable
history.
network.
In Japan,
Authenticator app
physical
generates
silver
the
was selling
six-digit
for
codes directly on your
$130
device
per ounce.
mathematically.
In the United
using a
Arab
shared
Emirates,
secret
the same
setup
story,
once between the app
$130.
and your account.
But here's where it gets
the code is
disturbing.
created right there on
At
your
that
phone
exact
itself.
same
It changes
moment,
automatically
if you looked at your
every
trading
30
screen
seconds.
in New York or
Here
London,
is why this completely
silver was
defeats
showing
the attacks we just
$72 per
discussed.
ounce.
There is
Let me
no
repeat
text
that
message
because
sent
it
over the
sounds
network,
impossible.
so there's
The
nothing
same
for an
metal at the same
SS7
time,
attacker to
trading at
intercept.
an 80%
The
premium
code
in
is
one
tied to
part
the
of the
app
world
on your
versus
specific
another.
device,
This isn't a normal
not
market
to your phone number, so a
discrepancy.
SIM
This is a
swap gives the
confession that
criminal
the
your
entire
number,
system
but
is
not your
breaking.
codes.
And at
The
the
code
center of
never
this
travels
chaos
anywhere,
sits
so it
one
cannot be captured
institution
in
that
transit.
everyone knows,
In one
but
simple
nobody
change,
truly
switching from
understands.
text message codes
JP
to an
Morgan Chase,
authenticator app,
America's
you
largest
neutralize
bank,
SIM
and
swapping,
they're sitting on the
SS7
largest stockpile of
interception,
physical silver
and
in
the
human
network level
history.
theft of
On
your
December
codes,
26,
because you have removed the
2025,
very
while most of
thing all
America
those
was
attacks
celebrating
rely
Christmas
on,
with their
which is a
families,
code
the New York
traveling
Federal
across the
Reserve
phone
quietly
network.
injected
This is
$17 billion
genuinely not
into
a
an
minor
unnamed
or
bank.
optional tweak.
No press
It
release,
is the entire
no
difference between the
explanation.
second factor
Just
that can be
$17
stolen
billion of
remotely from
emergency
across
cash
the world,
flowing into the
and one
financial
that
system while
essentially
you were
cannot be
opening
touched.
presents.
And it is
3
available
days
to you
later,
completely
on
for free
January
in just
1st,
a few minutes.
2026,
Let me
something
make
happened
this
that had
genuinely
never
practical,
occurred in modern
because the
financial
value
history.
isn't actually doing it,
In Japan,
not just understanding
physical
it.
silver was
The
selling
first step
for
is to get an authenticator
$130 per ounce.
There are several genuinely
In the United
free and
Arab
reputable
Emirates,
ones
the same
available,
story,
including well-regarded
$130.
options from major
But here's where it
technology
gets
companies.
disturbing.
And
At that
honestly,
exact
any
same
well-known
moment,
trusted
if you looked
authenticator
at your
app
trading
will work
screen in
perfectly
New
fine for
York or
this.
London,
Apple
silver
also
was
builds
showing
this exact
$72 per
capability
ounce.
directly into
Let me
iOS
repeat that
itself
because it sounds
in the form of
impossible.
verification codes
The
that
same
your
metal at the
iPhone
same
can generate
time,
and
trading
securely
at an
store
80%
right in your
premium
password
in one part of
settings.
the world
So
versus
for
another.
many of your
This isn't a
accounts,
normal market
you may not even need a
discrepancy.
separate dedicated
This is a
app at all.
confession that the entire system
Second
is
step
breaking.
is to go to
And
your
at the
most
center of
important
this
accounts
chaos
in order
sits
of
one
priority,
institution that
and
everyone
switch their
knows,
two-factor
but
method
nobody
from
truly
text message
understands.
to the authenticator
JP
app.
Morgan Chase.
Start with your primary
America's
email
largest
because
bank,
it is the
and they're
master
sitting
key
on the
that can
largest
reset
stockpile of
every other
physical
account,
silver in human history.
then move to your
On
banking
December
and
26,
financial apps,
2025,
then any
while most of
payment or
America was
cryptocurrency
celebrating Christmas
services,
with their families,
then
the New
important
York
things
Federal
like
Reserve
your social
quietly
media
injected
and shopping
$17
accounts.
billion
For each
into an
one,
unnamed bank.
go into the account's
No press
security
release,
settings,
no
find the
explanation.
two-factor or
Just
two-step
$17 billion
verification
of
section,
emergency
and
cash
look for the
flowing into
option
the
to add an
financial system
authenticator
while you
app,
were opening
sometimes
presents.
listed as an
3 days
authenticator
later,
app,
on
an
January
authentication
1st,
app,
2026,
or a TOTP option.
something
The
happened that
setup
had
usually
never occurred
involves
in modern
simply
financial
scanning a
history.
QR code with your
In
authenticator
Japan,
app one
physical
single time,
silver was selling
and
for
after that,
$130
the app quietly
per
generates
ounce.
that specific
In the
account's
United Arab
codes
Emirates, the
forever,
same story,
all on its own.
$130.
The third and
But here's
important
where it gets
step,
disturbing.
where the account allows
At
it,
that exact
is to
same
remove
moment,
the text message
if you looked
option
at
as
your
a
trading
backup
screen
once your
in New York or
authenticator app
London,
is working.
silver was showing
Because leaving
$72
SMS as
per
a
ounce.
fallback keeps
Let me
that
repeat
weak
that
door
because it
open for
sounds
attackers
impossible.
to exploit.
The same
Not every
metal at the
account
same
lets you
time,
remove it, but
trading
turn it
at
off
an
wherever you
80%
can.
premium in
Even
one
better
part of the
still,
world versus
wherever your
another. This
accounts
isn't a
and your
normal
bank
market
actually support
discrepancy.
them,
This
use
is a confession
passkeys,
that the
the
entire
newest
system
and
is
most
breaking.
secure login method
And at the
available
center of this
today,
chaos
which
sits
replaces
one
both passwords
institution
and
that
codes
everyone knows,
entirely with a
but
secure
nobody truly
cryptographic key
understands.
tied directly to
JP
your
Morgan
device
Chase,
and your biometrics.
America's largest
Alongside
bank,
switching away from
and they're
text
sitting on the
message
largest
codes, there's
stockpile
one more
of physical
powerful step
silver in human
that directly
history.
blocks the
On
most
December
common
26,
attack, the SIM swap.
2025, while
And it
most
is
of
worth
America
doing
was
today.
celebrating Christmas
You
with
can
their
add a layer of
families,
protection
the
to
New
your
York
mobile
Federal
carrier
Reserve
account
quietly
itself.
injected
Contact your
$17
mobile carrier
billion into
by
an
phone or
unnamed
through
bank.
their app,
No press
and ask
release,
them to add a
no
port out
explanation.
PIN,
Just
sometimes called a
$17
number
billion
lock,
of
a port
emergency
freeze,
cash
or SIM
flowing into the
protection to your
financial
account.
system while you were opening
This is a
presents.
separate secret passcode that
3
must
days
be
later,
provided
on January
before your
1st,
phone number can ever be
2026,
transferred to another
something
SIM
happened
or
that had
carrier.
never occurred in
With this
modern
protection in
financial
place,
history.
even a highly
In
skilled
Japan,
scammer who calls
physical
your
silver
carrier
was selling
pretending
for
to be you
$130
simply cannot move
per
your number
ounce.
anywhere.
In the
because
United
they will
Arab
not
Emirates,
have
the
that
same
secret
story,
PIN.
$130.
This single
But here's
step
where it gets
stops
disturbing.
a SIM swap
At that
attack
exact
completely
same
cold
moment,
in its tracks.
if you looked at your trading
Most major
screen in
carriers
New
now
York or
offer this
London,
protection
silver was
entirely for
showing
free.
$72
It usually
per
takes
ounce.
just one quick
Let me
phone
repeat
call
that
or a few
because it
simple
sounds
taps
impossible.
inside your carrier's
The
own
same
app to set
metal
up.
at the same time,
Between
trading
switching
at
your
an
codes to an
80% premium
authenticator
in
app
one
and
part of
locking
the
your
world
phone
versus
number against
another.
transfer,
This isn't a normal
you have
market
closed the two widest
discrepancy.
doors that attackers
This is a
use to
confession
reach
that the
accounts.
entire system
And
is
there is
breaking.
one more habit that
And at the
underpins
center
all
of this
this,
chaos
which is
sits
protecting
one
the personal
institution that
information
everyone
criminals
knows,
use,
but nobody
to pull
truly
off a SIM
understands.
swap in the first place.
JP Morgan Chase,
since they often
America's
rely on details
largest
like
bank.
your full name,
They're sitting
address,
on the largest
date of birth
stockpile of
to
physical
impersonate
silver
you
in
to your
human
history.
history. On
Reducing
December
how much
26,
your information is
2025,
floating
while
around
most of
publicly
America was
on
celebrating
data broker
Christmas with their
sites
families,
and
the
oversharing
New York
online
Federal Reserve
makes
quietly
you a harder
injected
target for the
$17
social
billion
engineering
into
that
the
these
unnamed
attacks
bank.
depend on.
No
And
press
finally,
release, no
strong,
explanation.
unique passwords on
Just
every single
$17
account,
billion of
ideally
emergency
generated and
cash
stored
flowing
in a
into the
dedicated
financial
password
system
manager,
while you were opening
complete the
presents.
protected picture.
3 days later,
Now let me
on
address the
January
iPhone
1st,
specific
2026,
side honestly,
something
because
happened
while
that
the
had
OTP
never
weakness
occurred in
is
modern
not an
financial
iOS
history.
flaw, keeping
In
your iPhone
Japan,
itself secure
physical
matters and
silver was
ties
selling
directly
for
into this.
$130
The single most
per
important
ounce.
iPhone security
In
habit
United
is to
Arab
keep it
Emirates, the same
updated.
story, $130.
Apple regularly
But
releases
here's where it gets
iOS updates
disturbing.
that patch
At
real
that
security
exact same
vulnerabilities.
moment, if
And
you
while
looked at
these
your
are
trader's
usually
screen
not
in New
OTP
York or
stealing
London,
hacks, they do
silver
fix
was trading
genuine flaws.
$72 per
For
ounce.
instance, Recent iOS updates have patched issues like an app potentially being able to access sensitive payment tokens, a local attacker potentially gaining access to your keychain items where passwords are stored, and an attacker in a privileged network position potentially
at the center of this chaos sits one institution that everyone knows,
of real
but
flaws
nobody
that
truly
timely
understands.
updates close off.
JP Morgan
Which is
Chase,
precisely why running
America's
the latest
largest
available
bank,
iOS
and they're
version
sitting on the largest
genuinely
stockpile
matters
of
a great
physical
deal
silver
for
in
protecting
human
the most
history.
sensitive
On
data.
December 26,
There's also a real and current
while most of
reminder that
America was
old,
celebrating Christmas
unpatched
with their
iPhones
families,
are the
the New
actual
York
danger.
Federal Reserve quietly
Security
injected
agencies have
$17
publicly
billion
flagged
into
that
an
older
unnamed
iOS
bank.
vulnerabilities
No press
are
release,
still being
no
actively used
explanation.
in real attacks
Just
today
$17
through
billion
reusable
of
exploits,
emergency cash flowing into
specifically
the
targeting
financial
older
system
devices
while you
that
were
have simply
opening
not been
presents.
kept updated.
3 days
So
later,
if you
on
or a
January
family
1st,
member happens to be
2026,
using an old iPhone
something
that no
happened that
longer
had
receives
never
security
occurred in modern
updates,
financial
that
history.
is a genuine and
In
real
Japan,
risk worth addressing
physical
soon
silver was
by
selling
either
for
updating or retiring the
$130
device
per ounce.
entirely.
In the
For
United
most ordinary
Arab
people,
Emirates, the same story.
the practical day-to-day iPhone
$130.
security checklist
But here's
is
where it gets
refreshingly
disturbing.
straightforward and easy
At
to
that
follow.
exact same
Keep
moment,
iOS updated,
if you look at
enable
your
automatic
trading screen
updates so
in
you
New
never
York
fall
or London,
behind.
silver
Use a strong
was
device
showing
passcode and
$72
Face
per
ID.
ounce.
And for
Let me
anyone
repeat
at
that
genuinely
because it
higher
sounds
risk,
impossible.
iOS
The same
includes a
metal
powerful
at the same
feature called
time,
lockdown
trading
mode
at an
that
80%
dramatically
premium
reduces
in
the
one
attack
part of the world
surface.
versus another.
None of these
This
steps
isn't a
replace the
normal market
core
discrepancy.
OTP fix.
This is a
But
confession
together,
that the
they form
entire
a
system
strong,
is breaking.
secure foundation
And
on
at the
which
center of this
your
chaos
authenticator app
sits
and
one
all your
institution
protected
that
accounts
everyone
comfortably
knows,
sit.
but nobody
Let me bring this
truly
all
understands.
together into a clear
JP
and
Morgan
honest summary
Chase,
because
America's
the goal was
largest
never to
bank,
frighten you
and
about
they're
your
sitting on the
iPhone.
largest
It was to fix
stockpile
a
of
real
physical
and common
silver in
weakness
human
and
history.
hand you control.
On December 26,
Here is the truth.
2025, while most
The
of
mistake
America
that
was
genuinely
celebrating
puts your
Christmas
bank
with
codes
their
at risk
families,
is
the
not
New
a
York
secret
Federal
iOS
Reserve
hack
quietly
or
injected
virus on your
$17
phone.
billion
It is
into
the
the
ordinary,
unnamed bank.
widespread
No
reliance
press
on
release,
text messages
no
to
explanation.
receive your
Just
one-time
$17 billion
passcodes.
of
Because those
emergency
codes
cash
travel
flowing
over
into
the
the
phone
financial
network,
system while you
criminals
were
can
opening
intercept them
presents.
through SIM swap attacks
3
that
days
hijack
later,
your number
on January
through
1st,
network-level
2026,
SS7 interception,
something happened that
or
had
by
never
phishing you
occurred
into
in
handing
modern
them over.
financial history.
And once they have your
In
code
Japan,
and your already stolen
physical
password,
silver was selling
your
for
account is open.
$130
That is the real,
per ounce.
honest basis for the
In the
warning.
United Arab
But
Emirates, the
the
same
fix
story.
is simple,
$130.
free, and entirely
Here's
in your
where it
hands,
gets
and it is
disturbing.
not specific to
At that
any phone.
exact same moment,
First,
if you looked
switch
at your
your
trading
two-factor
screen in New
authentication
York or
from
London,
text message codes
silver
to an
was showing
authenticator app
$72
or to
per ounce.
passkeys where
Let me
available,
repeat that
starting with
because
your
it sounds
email,
impossible.
then your banking
The same
and financial
metal at the
accounts.
same time,
Remove the
trading at an
SMS
80%
fallback wherever you
premium in
can.
one part of the world
This one
versus
single
another.
change
This isn't a
defeats
normal
SIM
market
swapping,
discrepancy.
SS7
This is a
network
confession that
interception,
the entire system
and
is
code
breaking.
theft and transit
And
all
at
at
the
the
center
same
of
time,
this chaos
because there is
sits
simply
one
no longer
institution
any
that
code
everyone
crossing the
knows,
phone network
but
for anyone
nobody
to steal.
truly understands.
Second,
JP
call your
Morgan
carrier
Chase,
and add a port
America's
pin
largest
to lock
bank,
your phone number
and they're
against
sitting on
transfer.
the largest
Third,
stockpile of physical
protect the
silver
personal
in
data
human
that
history.
fuels these attacks.
On December 26,
Keep your iPhone updated
2025,
with the
while
latest
most of America
iOS.
was celebrating
Since
Christmas
updates
with their
patch real
families,
flaws
the New York
and old
Federal
unpatched
Reserve
devices
quietly
are the
injected
genuine risk.
$17 billion
Do those
into an
things,
unnamed
and the
bank.
entire category
No
of
press
stolen
release,
OTP attacks
no explanation.
simply stops
Just
working against
$17
you.
billion of
The real
emergency
weakness
cash
here was
flowing
never
into
your
the
iPhone at
financial
all.
system while
It was
you were
always the
opening
simple
presents.
text message itself.
3 days later,
So pause
on
this
January
video right
1st,
now,
2026,
open up your bank app's
something
security
happened that had
settings,
never occurred
and switch
in
off
modern
those vulnerable
financial
text
history.
message codes
In
immediately
Japan,
before you do
physical
anything else
silver
at
was
all
selling
today.
for